All right, what's up, everyone? This is the Osmo.com NHL Hit the Ice show. We've got a 10 gamers to talk about for this evening, and slate will lock at 7 Eastern. As always, gonna wait for some people to come in here. Got some good stuff to talk about on the slate, as well as just stuff that's happening at Osmo.com. So it should be a good day, pretty good slate, tons of really good options. Actually, this is probably the best slate that I can remember for the season. So no homework leaves tonight. He is doing some fun bachelor party stuff, as I said yesterday. So I'm sure he's missing doing shows in cold weather, but hopefully he's surviving out there in Florida. I think he's at. So. What's up, Jake? Let's get this money. Yeah, let's do it. C column 80. You're in our premium Slack chat, aren't you? Yeah, you can message in here, message in the Slack, whatever you want. There is not a lot of ownership stuff to talk about, I don't think, tonight, besides maybe one spot, and it's kind of disappointing because wanted this spot somewhat to myself, but St. Louis won. It looks like it's probably going to be the chalk. I've tried to bump them down in my projections to see if I can get them to not come up in lineups, but they're just too cheap. So it's going to be tough to avoid that spot. However, if you're making a single lineup, there's 8 other spots that are similar. So just the pricing thing with St. Louis 1 is the only thing I wanted to mention off the top. Yeah, there's not like... Ovi's not going to be super chalky. Boston 1 is really well priced up on DraftKings. Actually, let's go to the DraftKings pricing right here so I don't confuse myself. Actually, the Boston game is what we're going to talk about first. Hello, Eric S. Yeah, let's get ready for some hockey for tonight. Give us a like if you like the show. Really helps us do this for free. So if you're in here, if you like the show, even though Homer Cleese is not on here, give us a like. What's up, Corsi? I know you're excited for this slate. I've already been talking to Corsi in a different chat. So Peyton Woods, Provorov will surprise tonight. Okay. What other hot takes do you guys have tonight? I guess that's not really a hot take. Maybe on the road in Boston. Provorov's not a guy that I'm jamming in, but yeah, if you got some hot takes, shout them out in chat. Yeah, just like scrolling through this right now. Hockey, Jesus. Boston 1 flops. Whew. So here's the thing with Boston 1. Like, they could legitimately score 2 goals tonight. So if this is a 4-game slate, or whatever, 3, 4, maybe even 5-game slate, I'm probably doing everything I can to fit in Boston 1 because, okay, they're the best line, and they've got an awesome matchup. They're at home. It doesn't matter who they go against. The Couturier line hasn't been good defensively. But even if they score 2 goals tonight, like, we're going to have multiple lines scoring 2, 3, 4 goals tonight. And, if you're running 4-3-1 or 3-3, you're going to need the 2 stacks that go nuts, that fit together. And it's just really, really hard to fit Boston 1 with a good defenseman, with also another good stack. So I don't know, maybe it's just me trying to not talk myself into playing them or jamming them in. But like, we'll experiment with this in the lineup builder and in Cruncher. We got to be out of here by 5 Eastern because there is an NBA show coming up after this, the Deeper Dive. I think there's a 4-game NBA slate. So I will not be going too long. We'll go through each of the games very quickly, but I want to spend some time in Cruncher and just kind of see how lines fit together and which lines don't fit together and what's not coming up for us. So now that I've rambled on for a few minutes, promo code Hit the Ice. So you're going to want to listen to this because some things have changed since yesterday. So promo code Hit the Ice. I'll spell it in chat for you guys. Promo code Hit the Nice. All right, so that promo code will get you access to Osmo's rankings. He does player and stack rankings, ranks them A to E, I believe. I usually don't scroll down that far to the E's. Usually try to stick with the A's and B's, but anyways, my projections you get, upload those to Fantasy Cruncher. And now actually Fantasy Cruncher is included in our free week trial. So it's free 7 days. You get Fantasy Cruncher included. You get the lineup builder that you see on the screen right now. And then you also get access to the premium Slack chat. And then all the articles written by Osmo. So go do that if you haven't already. You can, whatever. You can choose to join us after your week's done. I think you guys are going to like it. So if you're not a premium member, go use this free week because it's not going to last forever. You do get Fantasy Cruncher. You do get access to the Slack chat, which is really awesome. You get access to Steve in there. I'm in there if you want to ask me questions. Chris Wassel. Who else? Vots is in there. Vots might be on some shows coming up. Who knows? But yeah. And now we're also going to have hopefully some cash game content coming up. Yeah, Minnesota 1's not going to be low owned. I'm seeing that. Jorge. Nice thought, though. I mean, I'd like them to be low owned. What else am I forgetting here? You get the Morning Skate article by Nolan Kelly that you guys should definitely read. Power Play articles by Vots and Chris Wassel. Spotlight stacks by myself, which are up on the site. Those are free. And then, like I said, hopefully some more cash game content. Just was talking today to the bosses about that. So hold tight and make sure you use that free week because that's a really good deal. Nothing better than free, right? Depends which Minnesota line you're talking about. Minnesota 1. Well, okay, whatever. The Stahl line is not going to match with Kopitar. The Koivu line is going to match with Kopitar. Unless I'm just completely off base on something. Corsi probably knows. He does the line matching as well. Oh, last night, of course, the night I mentioned that Josh Bailey is garbage and he gets the first assist of the night. And then not only that, but I do vividly remember saying that Alex Edler was a great floor play. Got a goose egg. So cost me probably some commas there. So that was pretty rough. But he was injured, so can't do anything about that. Was on the wrong side of variance last night, but had a lineup up in the $8 that was doing really well, but needed some Edler. And even had the Markstrom win on there. So the road win in Vegas. I'm correct. Okay, I'm correct about the Koivu versus Kopitar call. All right. Actually, let me hide my screen really quick while I pull up my email. So, all right, let's do that. Let me pull this up. All right. I'll get you back to the... All right. Good deal. Now you guys can see my screen again, I think. All right, let's do Philadelphia and Boston. No team totals up yet, but I can look at another source. 2.5 for Philadelphia, 3.0 for Boston. We're going to see the Bergeron line probably go against Couturier, Giroux, and Konechny. Boston one, if you can afford them, great stack. I mean, nothing bad to say about them. It's just a pricing thing. Bryce, I didn't see that. I don't want to talk about Josh Bailey. That guy's the absolute worst. At least he didn't score a goal though last night. That would have been the ultimate knife in the back. Bergeron line, great stack. Probably, I think my highest raw point line on the slate. It's just a pricing thing. So I don't know what the field's going to be at. I doubt it's over 10%. And it's really scary because you can fit them in. I'm going to try to have at least a handful of lineups out of my 100 that have some Boston 1. So I'm not going to miss out completely if they go nuts. But this looks like a really good spot. Philadelphia has allowed some of the most high danger chances, most expected goals, whatever metric you want to use. They've been really bad defensively. So Brian Elliott, not the answer in net. He's not a Lundqvist. He's not a John Gibson type of goalie that I don't think is capable of a huge performance with a lot of high danger chances. I'm not on the Couturier line. Not really on anything from Philadelphia's side. Maybe some Goss to spare, but he's 5,500. It's not like he's free. And then anything else on the Boston side that I'm looking at, maybe some Krejci, Heinen, DeBrusk, just as a filler stack, but nothing is a priority here in this game for me. Goalies, Halak, I think is fairly priced. Probably going to see some decent shot volume because while that top Boston line has been pretty shut down, and you'd expect them to be, the rest of the Boston depth isn't great at shot suppression. So no issue with Halak. You're not going to want to fit him in with Boston 1, so probably won't have much exposure. Easy for me to say, to Yaroslav Halak. Defenseman here. I think if I'm pairing a defenseman with the Boston top line, it's probably Carlo. I don't know off the top of my head how the top pairing, or how often the top pairing goes out with Boston 1 at home, but I would assume Carlo sees some decent time with Bergeron, Pastrnak, and Marchand. No power play exposure there, but he's just 2,700. You're going to need a couple punts if you are going to Boston 1, so he'd be the guy that I would go to. All right, let's go to game number 2, Montreal and the Buffalo Sabres. We have Antti Niemi going up against Carter Hutton. Niemi 7,400, Carter Hutton 7,700. The main talking point here, and I guess really the talking point for the whole slate, is that pretty much every top line, I think, that's at home especially, is in play for me. Like this Eichel line especially, really like them. They don't stick out as far as being a great value, but it is a pretty good spot, provided that they don't spend a ton of time against the Danault, Tatar, and Gallagher line. They're probably just going to roll. I don't see them hard matching here, but if they were going to hard match with Montreal 1, that would be a little bit of a concern. So right now I'm not concerned about it. Price, Niemi, it doesn't really matter who's in net for this start. For me, I do like that Sabres top line. They're actually, I think, a top 4 or 5 exposed line for me when I was running just basic 3-3s earlier this morning. So Eichel, Skinner, Pominville, full power play correlation seems like a pretty good recipe for success there. And then, man, like you could go back to this Montreal line on the other side. Montreal 1. I think Montreal 2 is a little bit overpriced for me, and they're on the road. But there's just so many other better spots that I'd rather go to for this kind of pricing. So probably off mostly the Montreal side here. Petrie at 6,100, too expensive for me. And then my preferred target is probably Dahlin at 3,700, listed on the top power play. It just correlates really well to the Buffalo top line. Goalies here, like I mentioned, Niemi, not going to be a real target of mine. I'm going to try to correlate as much as possible tonight, and it's not like he's free where I would have him in a one-off scenario. I think I'd rather take a shot with some of the goalies that are down at 7K and save the extra couple $100. Hutton, 7,700, probably a little bit overpriced, but he is a home favorite here. Low total against him at just 2.6 right now. Shot volume probably not going to be super high, but pretty decent win equity. So Hutton is fine. Probably, again, not going to have too many hot takes at goalie. Wouldn't be a guy that I would consider if I was playing cash, though. All right. Next game, we've got Nashville and New Jersey. Just going to refresh Daily Faceoff and see if we've got anything for the Predators goalie. Isn't it going to be UC Saros? I'm pretty sure it's going to be, but we don't have anything confirmed on Osmo.com. He looks likely, so he's unconfirmed here, but it's probably going to be Saros against Keith Kincaid. 2.8 total for Nashville. 2.7. Oh, UC confirmed. I'm seeing that he's just likely. Whatever. Confirmed, likely means mostly the same thing. It's 98% of the time when they're likely, they're going. Yeah, me too, Jorge. Me too. We'll get to Edmonton one later though. So this one again, top line on the home team, more than in play. Hall, Heischer, and Palmieri. Don't see any line matching going on here. Last year they were matching up Hall with opposing top lines. That'd be pretty fun if they were going up against Nashville one. Not a line I'm super scared to target against. I guess one talking point here is the Fiala head scratching healthy scratch. It looks like whatever that is. I know they did that maybe a couple times last season, but he was like 3,700. So when he was going to play, I did have some interest in Nashville too, just because they're super, super cheap. But with Grimaldi in there, it's a no from me. So it's really just New Jersey one here with Vatanen or Butcher. Vatanen's probably going to see mostly even strength time with Taylor Hall, which you like to see. Kincaid is fine in tournaments. I mean, again, no super hot takes for goalie here. And then with no Fiala on the Nashville side, it's really just top lines on both teams. But let me check for sure. But I don't think I have much, if any, Nashville one exposure in the crunches I was running this morning. 3% it looks like on my last one. So nothing substantive. You can fit Nashville one with St. Louis one, which is kind of crazy, but you can do it. So, oh, Bobby Boom, what's up, buddy? Corsi was just talking about you yesterday. Yeah, there you go. He said you haven't been showing up lately, but I knew you'd show up for today's show. Big slate, 10 games, some big contests. You're probably maxing that $8, huh, Boom? All right, let's move it on. Yeah, let's move it on to the next game. Actually, I should probably talk about defenseman. Roman Yossi's too cheap for Nashville. They're just, like, he just shouldn't be $5,100. He shoots it a ton. He sees a lot of minutes here. 20 plus should be pretty easy to attain here. And yeah, it's not like Nashville or it's not like New Jersey is the slowest paced team where you need to worry about there being a lack of shot volume. No MME is the way to go. Well, of course, you can sign up for Fantasy Cruncher for a free week and get free Fantasy Cruncher. So that's a good reminder, actually. Promo code Hit the Ice. You get Fantasy Cruncher now. You get Osmo's rankings. You get my projections. The lineup builder that you see on the screen that we're going to mess around with once I get through these games. The premium Slack chat, you do get that for the week trial. So I would definitely suggest doing that. Use it today. You get access all the way up to next Thursday. So I don't know what you're waiting for. It's free. You get Fantasy Cruncher. If you've never tried it before, a week is a pretty good sample to get somewhat comfortable with it. And then you can join with us after your week is done. All right, we're done talking about Nashville and New Jersey. Seems like these are the three worst games, or at least three least interesting games. Columbus and St. Louis. We have Korpisalo going up against Allen. Allen's price is pretty weird on DraftKings at 7,100 as a home favorite. Usually don't see that, but here we are. So speaking of being underpriced, St. Louis one seems really underpriced to me. They're going to, in whatever optimizer you use, whether it's Fantasy Cruncher or whatever one you use. We don't know exactly how line matching is going to go because we saw Ryan O'Reilly with Tarasenko on the top line for the most part of the early part of the season. So now that they're split up, I would have to guess that they go O'Reilly against the Columbus top line, and that's not super appealing for the Columbus top line, but they too are pretty decent as far as value goes. The problem with them also still is the power play. They are not correlated on the power play. Panarin and Atkinson are split up, so really frustrating there. Kind of nukes some of their value for me. Columbus for all the money. I probably won't be there. St. Louis second. I don't know. I don't love it with Sanford on there. Fabry, he's supposed to return pretty soon. That's going to be a really fun top 6 if he slots in there. So keep an eye out for that. But he's obviously not back just yet. So probably going to lay off the STL2s. Same thing with the 3s, even though those guys all get power play exposure. St. Louis also messed up their power play lines. They have Shen and Schwartz together, but no Tarasenko. Pietrangelo is with them, though. And maybe the best value of the slate, Pietrangelo at 4,400. Just like Yossi, should not be priced this low. He's at home. It's a good matchup. There's no Bobrovsky, so there's another boost. One of the best goalies in the NHL. Even though he hasn't been playing like it, he still is one of the best goalies in the NHL. So St. Louis 1 plus Pietrangelo is going to be in a healthy amount of my lineups tonight. Probably going to be my highest exposed stack. I wrote them up earlier. You can look at the numbers if you want. They're just too underpriced. So it's a pretty simple play there. On the Columbus side, Seth Jones would be my preferred defenseman option. He's 6,300, like $1,900 more than Pietrangelo. So if you can get up to Seth Jones as a one-off, then sure. But again, I'm not going to have a ton of Columbus 1, so it's going to be hard for me to get to a lot of Seth Jones or Werenski. All right, next game here. Actually, let me look in the chat. Tarasenko, yeah. There's some talk maybe he's unhealthy at the moment, but those numbers that St. Louis 1 has when they're together, even going back to last year, are pretty crazy good. So I'm putting my faith in the big sample size. I think this is an excellent get-right spot. They don't have an elite goaltender right now with Bobrovsky out. So just another bonus, kind of makes up for the lack of power play correlation. He just came back and had 30 minutes in his first game for Seth Jones. I mean, you got a defenseman as good as Seth Jones. Yeah, might as well ride him for 30 minutes if he's healthy. Did he really get to 30, though? 27. Okay. Put up 4 shots on goal. I'm assuming he had quite a few more attempts than that. So just picking up where he left off. Seth Jones is the GOAT. So if you're going to Columbus 1, no issue with him at all. LA and Minnesota. Chris Summerman. Are you playing the Q tonight? I don't think so. No. What's the? I haven't even looked. What's the Q? What is it, like a $33? No, I don't know. Got to mentally prepare for that Q. That's always fun. I was gonna play the $15 the other night, and then for whatever reason I didn't. Just wasn't really feeling it. $300. Yeah, probably. I'm MMEing tonight, so no, I'm not playing the Q. Gonna play the old terrible payout structure $8. So should be fun, I'm sure. All right, Minnesota, Los Angeles. No Jonathan Quick for the Kings. This one, we kind of know how the lines are going to match. We talked about it earlier, but Mikko Koivu line will go up against Kopitar, Toffoli, and Iafallo. Those two lines kind of cancel each other out for me. But I actually don't hate Minnesota 2, the Koivu line, as somewhat of a value. But really, Minnesota 1 is where I want to go here. Stahl, Zucker with Niederreiter. Niederreiter's had a rough start to the season, but I saw some stuff on Twitter last night, or maybe a couple days ago, about Bruce Boudreau. He's putting him with Stahl and Zucker like with the purpose of getting Niederreiter jump started. So 3,800 for him. I don't know. He's a guy that he has some offensive talent. He shouldn't be putting up as poor of numbers as he has been. But playing with Stahl and Zucker, that's just such a boost than playing with like Coyle and Greenway, whoever he was playing with before. So big boost to Niederreiter. Power play one time with Stahl, with Zucker. This line does it does fit if you just stack the forwards with Boston 1. So keep that in mind if you are going to Boston 1 tonight. You're gonna have to punt, probably your goalie and a couple defensemen, but yeah, it's that is a thing that works tonight. Minnesota 1 with Boston 1. Defenseman here, it's kind of tough for Minnesota's side because you've got Suter. He's listed on the top power play, but he doesn't have quite the peripherals that a guy like Dumba has. But if you are going to line 1 here, you can afford Suter. You can afford Dumba. But Spurgeon, obviously the best value at 3,600. Yeah, I mean, I think all three of those guys are in play right now. Let me actually look what I had for defensemen earlier today. This is going to change quite a bit, but I had Spurgeon the most. So he just fits really nicely for 3,600 despite not being on the power play with these three guys. But I will say that Suter and Dumba are probably going to skate with Koivu, Parise, Granlund at even strength, and then Spurgeon and Brodin with Stahl, Niederreiter, and Zucker for the most part. Gonna be a long year for your Kings. Yeah, you can play Brodin for min price. I didn't even notice that, honestly. That's kind of wild. He's not an offensive guy, but he blocks shots. He is a decent real-life defenseman. Yeah, 2,500. It seems like this year, DraftKings has had a lot more, like, misprices like that. I don't know. Is that just me? Or doesn't it seem like there's a lot of, like, min-salary defensemen that are available seemingly every single night? Just play... Oh, wait. Dude, what is going on in this chat? You guys are wild. Let me check the Slack. All right, nothing there. Is Ronta the goalie tonight, or is it Darcy? It's Darcy. Yeah, Kevin Z from Slack. It's Darcy tonight. We'll get to that here in a bit. We're probably good there. Dubnyk, super spendy, but he's a guy I don't hate paying up for. I think he's got a decent chance at a shutout here, as good as probably anyone else on the slate off the top of my head. So, sorry, Boom. I hate targeting against Minnesota when they're at home. They've got the Koivu line. I almost never want to mess with that line. Carter, Pearson, Kovalchuk, there's no real data on them. They're cheap enough, and they're going to get a better matchup against Stahl, Niederreiter, and Zucker, but still, I don't like targeting against Minnesota here. So on a big slate, it's probably going to be an avoid for the Kings side, and then their defensemen. I just hate playing their defensemen. Doughty for 4,900. He's fine. He's a name, better real-life defenseman than a DFS defenseman, but if you must for 4,900, I guess that would be the play for me. It's okay. All right. Rangers and Blackhawks. We have Henrik Lundqvist going up against Corey Crawford. Is Lundqvist confirmed? Let's see. Maybe we just haven't updated this. That's who I had earlier today. I don't know why he wouldn't be starting. Maybe tired of getting hung out to dry 20 times a game. He is confirmed. All right. So Lundqvist is in. Can you look at a potential cash lineup at the end, too, if there's time, please? I mean, I could embarrass myself trying to build a cash lineup, sure. I can just try to put in all the best values or my best perceived values. I don't know. I wouldn't play the lineup I come up with, but yeah, we can try it out. You guys can help me out. Yeah, McJesus. Yeah, of course, McJesus. Pietrangelo will be in there. Yeah, we can do it. We'll mess around with it. All right. Rangers Blackhawks. This one should be just a lot of terrible defense. Should be a ton of points here, whether it comes from the goalies and they stand on their heads or from the forwards here, because both these teams in the top 5 for high danger chances against per 60 this season. As you would expect, both were terrible defensively last year, have not changed much. We do know the matchups for the most part here. We're going to see Tays going up against the Zibanejad line. Tays line, well, do they still have the reputation that they're a shutdown line? Because they haven't been this year. They're giving up a ton of chances in their own end. But you just got to get there offensively, and they certainly could do that tonight against the Zibanejad line, which also gives up a ton of chances in their own end. So should be super back and forth, fun hockey here. Probably not fun if you're a coach of either of these two teams, but for DFS, this looks like one of the games to target. Both lines for the Blackhawks are in play. The second line, probably a little bit better of a value, even though Patrick Kane is 7,500. He's pretty easy to fit in with Saad and Anisimov, and some of these cheaper Chicago defensemen like Gustafsson. On the Rangers side, I actually like the Hayes line quite a bit. I mean, I like Zibanejad, Zuccarello, and Kreider. I think they're a great stack. They're going to see the Tays line. They're going to be pretty low owned because they're expensive, or relatively expensive. But that second line, I don't think is terrible. Maybe Hedel, that's how you say his name. I think Steve told me. Hedel and Hayes, those two I like as a mini stack. If you're going 3-3-2, pair them up with Brady Shea for 4,100. You get a cheap trio there that I like quite a bit. So top 6 in play for both sides here. I think my favorite play in this game is actually the Rangers side. I really do like the Zibanejad line. I just don't know how much I'm going to get to them, even by increasing their projection a little bit. So Pionk goat, but that's way too much. Yeah, our former punt god, Neil Pionk, right here. This dude right here. 5,600. Dude, he was just like 29 like a week ago. Crawford's been on fire. Yeah, Crawford's great. He's just gonna see a ton of high danger chances. These two defenses, I don't know. Like, you could see Lundqvist, you could see Crawford standing on their heads here, but whenever you think that a goalie's gonna see a lot of high danger chances, even if they're gonna see the shots, like, it's just such potential for a 5-4, 4-3 game where, yeah, the winning goalie's probably fine, but I don't have a strong take as to who's gonna win this game. I don't see a ton of advantages either way. Maybe that Anisimov line against the Hayes line, but yeah, it's pretty even. They're both equally terrible defensively. Maybe the Rangers are a little bit worse. Chicago's at home, so sure, but yeah, I don't really like goalies here, and I certainly don't like paying $8,400 for Crawford because you do need a big performance. You need him to see a ton of shots and get the win and not allow 3-4 goals here. All right, are we good here? Gustafsson's my preferred play for the Blackhawks. You can pair him with that top line really nicely. As you see, they're all on that quote-unquote second unit for the Blackhawks. All right, Anaheim and Dallas. We have John Gibson going up against Ben Bishop. Gibson 7,800, Bishop 8,200. This one probably will be the quickest one. Absolutely love Dallas one. Anaheim has been pretty poor defensively. Dallas one has Sagan and Ben, so could end it right there. They've got the punt in Justin Dowling on the top line with them. Who knows how long that will stick? Pitlick's still listed on the top power play. I wonder if that sticks or if they'll just put Dowling on there. Either way, Dowling doesn't look terrible to me. You can put up pretty much anyone with Sagan and Ben, and they'll have some sort of success. And $3,100 is just ridiculous to be playing with those two guys. So I don't know why they moved down Pitlick. after Sagan and Ben both said that they wanted to play with him. I don't know. I'm not an NHL coach. Zibanejad is related to me. Of course he is, Boom. Of course he is. Zibanejad, yeah, he's been a stud for DFS this season. Worried that most of the Ducks had bad defense numbers have come with Getzlaf and Kessler both not playing. Well, Getzlaf scares me more defensively than Kessler at this point. Kessler was pretty awful defensively last season. Kessler's probably better than who they had, the whatever AHLers that they had playing last year and early this season, but still not a guy that I'm worried about. I love Dallas's top line. They're probably going to see the depth for the Ducks as Faxa goes up against Getzlaf, Raquel, and Nick Ritchie. The Ducks top line is actually fine for me here. Getzlaf and Raquel, you're just not used to seeing them that cheap, and I don't hate Ritchie on the top line for 3,700, so we'll have exposure to both these top two lines, and then Klingberg defensively for the Stars. No one else really on my radar. Maybe if you want to go with the even strength correlation and go with Essa Lindell, that's fine for 3,700, but he's not on the power play with those guys. Any chance Gibson stands on his head tonight, or is the defense just that bad? I mean, Gibson's a top 3 goalie in the NHL, so yes, he could definitely stand on his head. I don't love trying to predict goalies. I like to predict matchups and play the numbers after that, just because I think there's a lot less variance in predicting matchups than there are in predicting goalies. But yeah, Gibson could certainly stand on his head, but 7,800, I'd rather not. Bishop, 8,200. Don't love that either. I think the Stars have a great chance to dominate possession tonight, so shot volume's not going to be there for him, I don't think. Let's move it on to the next game. I want to get out of here in the next... I want to be done with the games in the next, 5-6 minutes, and then we'll go on and make some... We'll make a cash lineup, maybe go on Fantasy Cruncher, and we got to get out of here in under 20 minutes, so I'll move it along. All right, Pittsburgh and Calgary. We got a 6.5 total for this game, and you can understand why, looking at the matchups. The Gaudreau line has been just brutal defensively, fine offensively. It's going to be Gaudreau versus the Malkin line. It's going to be Backlund, Tkachuk, Frolik, or the 3M line, as we call them, going up against Crosby, Gensel, and Brian Rust. By the way, that goal from Crosby, that was ridiculous. That guy's so good. But getting off track, Backlund, Tkachuk, Frolik going up against Crosby makes me not really like Crosby all that much, although we've seen Boston 1 get there against 3M. Take that for what you will. The Crosby line, while Crosby is amazing, this is not Boston 1, so very, very low on Crosby, Gensel, Rust, and then I love both sides of Monahan versus the Malkin lines. It's just such a high-paced matchup. Malkin, Kessel, I don't love playing Hagelin there, but those two guys with Letang, if you can get to that trio, I think is really awesome. And, Hagelin's not great, but he is cheap for 3,600, so yeah, absolutely love Pittsburgh 2, love Calgary 1. It's really hard not to. Neal, 3,600 for PP1. Yeah, that's fine as a one-off, or if you want a mini stack with Giordano or something. Yeah, I'm not going to say it's a bad play or anything. So Giordano, 5,700. Hard not to like him, especially if you're going with Calgary 1. Man, there's just going to be there should be so many shots in this game. We don't know for sure, but especially shots in that specific matchup with Calgary 1 and Pittsburgh 2. Rasmus Andersson is the punt option here for Calgary, getting top pairing minutes, not listed on a power play, but he's 2,700 and skating with Giordano, so that's a guy that I will have in a bunch of lineups. I boosted his projection, boosted his minutes, so check the update after if you're using my projections on Fantasy Cruncher or whatever optimizer you're using. All right. Goalies here. I like them both as correlation plays. So anytime there's going to be a ton of shots, people shy away from goalies. And that's understandable when you're building, 1 to 3 to 5 lineups. That's understandable. The goalie win is very important, but the winning goalie of this game, as long as it's not 6-5, which it could be, but if this game is 4-3 or whatever, 3-2 somehow, and you get the right stack and you have the goalie, each goalie is probably going to see 35 shots. So, yeah, I know. Mike V, don't play cash and live the GPP life. I agree, but people want to see some cash content. That's understandable. I would probably get destroyed in NHL cash, so I'm just gonna stick to what I know I'm good at, and that's GPPs. Sid and McJesus in cash. You want to play Sid in cash? Boom. Do not play Sid in cash. He's gonna go up against Backlund. Do not. All right. Unless I'm just the biggest cash fish ever, don't play Sid in cash. I wouldn't. Play Malkin. All right, Capitals Oilers. Another fun one here. 6 total. We've got about 3.1 going to the Caps. Actually, on Osmo we have it as 3.2, 3.1, whatever. It's a high total. Maybe closer to 6.5. Chances Backlund line takes Malkin seems unclear. I looked at what they did last year in this exact same matchup. Backlund line hard matched against Crosby. So Crosby is the best player. I would assume they go right back to it. I wouldn't be completely shocked, taken back if they went up against Malkin, but I'd be a little bit surprised. So I'm treating it as Backlund's going up against Crosby until I am wrong tomorrow and I don't have any money left in my DK account. All right, Washington, Edmonton. Connor McDavid is on the slate. Connor McDavid is in play. I love Edmonton 1. I wrote about them today. I won't talk about them much. It's just they're going to see the Kuznetsov, Ovechkin, Devonta Smith-Pelly line, and that line has been brutal defensively going back to the start of last season. Don't expect them to be any better. The Backstrom, Oshie, Stevenson line has been really bad. So defensively, or at least not up to Backstrom's standards. So even if the McDavid line doesn't hard match against Ovechkin, and I think they should, even if they don't, they're going to see almost all their time at even strength against the top 6, and that is just a scrumptious matchup. I love McDavid, Nugent Hopkins, Yamamoto. So going back to something I was talking about, was it Tuesday last time that McDavid was on the slate, and I was saying that, McDavid's going to be popular, but Yamamoto and Nugent Hopkins are going to be less than him, so it's not going to be a 20% owned stack if McDavid's 20% owned. So McDavid did come in at about 20% in the $8, but I saw Yamamoto was under 10. So the full stack is not going to be super heavily owned, even if they are the chalk. And I would include Yamamoto if I can. Dowling is not on FanDuel. Nugent Hopkins was 11. Yeah, that's outrageous. Play McDavid's line mates. McDavid can score. He can get a hat trick, but a lot of his points come from assist equity. He just makes everyone so much better. He just takes line mates along for the ride. He did it to Milan Lucic last year for a little while. Just play his line mates if you can. In cash, different story. I get it, but Yamamoto shoots. Last year when he played with McDavid, he shot a ton. So I was just riding him every single game. On the other side, we've got Kuznetsov, Ovechkin. You can run it back with them. Would probably leave off Smith-Pelly. Doesn't get power play time. Oftentimes gets left out of the scoring. Love Ovechkin. Love Kuznetsov. Prefer them much, much more than Backstrom and Oshie. Now you're going to have to pay the price, of course. But really, really love both sides of these top-line matchups. And hoping that they spend all the time in the world at even strength against each other, which I think we will see. defensemen in this game. You've got a couple cheap guys in Kempny and Dmitry Orlov on the Capitals side. And if someone in chat has seen this, let me know. But just looking at what Washington should do is they're probably going to want Orlov and Niskanen up against McDavid. So if the McDavid line goes up against Kuznetsov and Ovechkin, then you're going to see Orlov and Niskanen skate a ton with Ovechkin, Kuznetsov, and Smith-Pelly at even strength. So those guys obviously get a boost. Orlov 3,400. That's just for a decent value and good even strength correlation, we think. We've got Clefbaum and Larson. Clefbaum is priced up a little bit, but still love him for 5,400, shooting it a bunch as of late. And then Larson, just the block shot king, and he's 3,300. So I'm more than willing to pay that price for good old Adam Larson. Goalies here. I would guess there's going to be a lot of high danger chances, so I'd rather have the guys in the last game. But, yeah, no problem as far as correlation goalies go. Man, that sounds like such a cop-out answer. I guess no one's really asking me questions, but, yeah, I almost never have hot takes on goalies. I just try to correlate, make it easy. It's easy for me mentally than stewing over who I'm going to take at goalie and just be on tilt when I go 50% on a guy and he gets crushed. All right, last game. Then we're going to make some lineups quick. Then we got to get out of here. Vancouver and Arizona. Oh, by the way, guys, if you're watching this and you like it, give us a like on YouTube. It does help us out. Promo code Hit the Ice. You get Osmo's rankings. You get my projections for a free week. And then Fantasy Cruncher is included. Lineup builder that you see is included. Slack chat is included. So come hang out with us in Slack for a week. See what you like. It is free. So nothing better than free stuff. And you get to use Fantasy Cruncher. That's huge. I don't know, Matt, about Vancouver D-lines yet. But Vancouver's not a team that I'm going to target heavily. Canucks, Coyotes, probably Anders Nilsson going up against Darcy Kemper. No Antti Ranta. Vancouver is just been crushed with injuries. I mean, it's unbelievable how many guys left last night. Tanev left. Edler left. There's a couple forwards that left. Like, this team, so unlucky. I don't want to talk about Edler. It's not his fault he got hurt. Goose egg. I was a couple points out of first place. Whatever. Theoretically, he does have a good floor, even for 6K. Does auto 2,600 if he plays? Yeah, absolutely. Isn't he one of the guys that left? Because he's not listed right now that we have on Osmo.com. But if he plays and he's 2,600, sure. I like Arizona's second line, Stepan Perlini and Kristen Fisher. Liked what I saw from them in their last game. The results were great. Fisher, I believe, had a hat trick. But their possession numbers were also fantastic. So it wasn't just like they got lucky a couple times in the zone. They did dominate possession in that game against the Blue Jackets. And this is a really bad team Vancouver's going to have. Probably no Brock Besser. I don't know about Elias Pettersson, but yeah, it's going to be a very decimated Canucks team with Anders Nilsson. On defense, got Jason Demers, who is min salary, but Oliver Ekman-Larsson, the guy he's paired with, is 4,200, and he's the guy I want to play, whether I'm playing the top line or the second line. Top line, Galchenyuk Keller is a nice dynamic duo there, but Lawson Krause, as some of you put it, is a plug, so he'd be a guy that I would leave off even for 2,900 and go elsewhere. All right, that's going to do it for the game-by-game breakdown. If you guys got anything in chat you want to talk about, just pop it in or on Slack. Either way, I'll open Slack there. Can't check out the show. Oh, that's all right. I'll post it in a second. Minutes does not mean production like it does in NBA. Yeah, it's a little different. Actually, it's a lot different. But let's see. If you're not in first, you're last. Yeah, that's very true, Aaron. All right, someone said we wanted to make it like a cash lineup. All right, so if we're making a cash lineup, this guy's going in. Dude, I don't know the first thing about. I mean, I know how to play cash, but there's just no way I'm good at it. Like I would put Malkin in there, if you could, or maybe Kessel. I would have someone from that line in there. Let's see. Saad was a very good target the other night in cash. I know that. He was just way too cheap. Who were some other guys that we were looking at for cash, like really good values that we mentioned? Pitlick, Boyle, or Grizzlick? Oof. Isn't there someone cheaper that you can play? Konechny? Is he a cash option tonight? I mean, it's a terrible even strength matchup for them. Where are they at? Oh, they're at the top. You gotta be kidding me. Okay. I'm a cash fish, and you could make the argument that I am a GPP fish too, depending on who you talk to. But you guys coach me through this cash lineup. Jake Allen in net, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Home favorite, 7,100. Where else can we go? Oh, Pietrangelo. Ekman Larson. You guys want Ekman Larson? Now we got 5,300 for a winger and a utility player. Can you fit Ovechkin? You can. Here, let's try this. Let's get this Dowling character in there. I don't even know. He should probably be a cash option. Skating with the two guys he's skating with, Ben and Sagan. Oh, I'm not actually playing this lineup, so if you guys want to, feel free. I just wanted to see what you guys thought of as far as cash goes. So now we got 3,400 left. Who should we get in here? Ooh, Pierlini. So close. We could play Lipsick. I like Lipsick. I don't know. That's not terrible, right? Maybe it is. You guys tell me. But now that we're done with that, we got a couple minutes left. I want to make a Pouliot. God, do I have to play this lineup now? I do, don't I? Whatever. I'll find that lineup again and I'll make it. I want to try this. Single entry. And the $1. Oh, dude, that's right. Oh my God, me and Steve made was that 2 nights ago or 3 nights ago? We made a Arizona 2 the night Fisher had his hat trick with Boston 1, I think. We made the lineup and like I was like, man, that's a pretty good lineup. I remember saying that, and that was like the nuts. It was the nuts. God, yeah, that was really frustrating to see because I was on both of those lines too, and I just didn't get them matched up. I don't know how. Pretty low implied total for Bruins considering parent matchup quality. Yeah, that's. I mean, you look at these prices and you're like, man, what is this? 22 something, 22.6 for 3 players. But man, they just kind of transcend. Like matchups aren't really a thing for them, at least in my eyes. Like I'll play them against whoever. But yeah, it is for only just over a 3 total. It's not the most appealing. On a smaller slate, I think they'd be more of a must, but on this huge slate, I think we're going to see a bunch of lines go off. There's a ton of great spots, so it's not that necessary. This chat is so good. Is there 74 viewers? We should have like 74 likes then, right? So I'm heating up on a good line. Boom, you need your free fantasy cruncher. All right, so you can do this. Look, you can do this. Who's the guy? Pouliot? He's 2,500. All right, let's put him in there. Let's get Jake Allen in there, or Mike Smith, whatever. You can do this. That works. Other than that, you can't really fit other top lines. You could probably fit some Arizona in there with Boston. It's doable. Get free fantasy cruncher for a week with promo code Hit the Ice. Osmo's rankings, my projections, as I mentioned, Fantasy Cruncher, the lineup builder, premium Slack chat, all included. So if you thought this chat was fun, go sign up for 7 days. Try out the chat. It's very active in there. A lot of good information. And yeah, guys, thanks for joining. Give us a like. It helps us do this for free. So if you could like it, if you do indeed like the show, help us out in that way. And there's 4 games tomorrow, I believe, so I will be back tomorrow. See you guys then. Thanks for being so active. See you tomorrow, and good